Hi, Philazon here from Now Spinning Magazine with another unboxing video, and this one is Bernie Marsden, Big Boy Blues and Green, 4 CD box set on Purple Records, the imprint from Cherry Red. So let's dive inside and I'll show you what's in it. Bernie Marsden, Big Boy Blues and Green. This is a 4 CD box set, again on the Purple imprint from Cherry Red Records, with 4 discs in it: Green and Blues from 95, Big Boy Blue 2003, and Live at the Granary from 2005. There's a booklet which I'll come to last of all. Green and Blue Blues, so they're all on the Purple Records label. So it's tribute to Peter Green with 15 tracks. All of these are full of music, well over an hour long. Big Boy Blue, which is the next one, 13 tracks. Then the Sessions, which is outtakes and different versions and different mixes, again another 12 tracks. And then Big Boy Blue Live at the Granary, which is a fantastic record, but I'll do the full review at the other end of this bit. So the booklet has got lots of information in, lots of wordage from from the actual releases themselves, but also some new words from Bernie Marsden himself, which is really interesting with this period of his career, which is fantastic. As you see, December 2022 was when Bernie last wrote something about these records for this booklet, so it's absolutely fantastic. And so that's out now, so here's the main review. Bernie Marsden. What a great set this is. I've got a lot of time for Bernie Marsden. I'm going to plug something else at the same time for Bernie. Where's My Guitar? Bernie's autobiography. You should read this. It isn't the dirt by Motley Crue. It's not full of gossip and outrage and oh my god, how did he survive that? This is a musician's memoir of rock and roll and making it and unmaking it and making it again and unmaking it and eventually making it even more in the music business. It is a story of British rock and roll, and it's all about being a musician and a guitarist. And Bernie Marsden's heart is as pure as they come. He's an absolutely great player, and this box set, which looks at the period of his life in the mid-90s to late 90s, early 2000s, is just fantastic. It really, really is. I've always admired Bernie's guitar playing. I remember I'm a huge fan of Paice, Ashton Lord. I've done a video on them. His guitar playing was fantastic, but it was Whitesnake, I think. And let's go back, shall we? When you've got like Rainbow and the new wave of British heavy metal and guitarists turning all their amps up to 11 and playing as fast as they could, that there was quite a few people that thought about Whitesnake as being like they were very much in the R&B blues kind of rock, so where everyone else was becoming very metal. And of course David did eventually decide to change direction and go more metal, but at this period in the late 70s he was very much blues rock, and a lot of people loved that period. But I remember friends where I used to go to a rock club in Birmingham called Bogart's were going, oh, he hasn't got a full-on guitarist, has he, David Coverdale? I'm not sure about Whitesnake. And I think a lot of people's minds changed when they heard that guitar solo, Walking in the Shadow of the Blues. It is just stunning, isn't it? Absolutely stunning. And the track Trouble, and then of course Don't Break My Heart Again, the guitar solo, and that he's writing of the perfect melodic guitar solo is fantastic. I remember going with some friends who were huge Ricky Blackmore fans to see Whitesnake for the first time, and it was when they were still doing Mistreated. And of course Mistreated was a vehicle for Richie Blackmore to go up and down the fretboard, at the rate of knots really. And of course Rainbow were also doing their own version of Mistreated, so which version was going to win? And so all eyes were on Bernie Marsden, expecting him to kind of like put his foot on the monitor and throw his head back and just do a proper guitar hero thing with thousands of notes to try and out Richie. He didn't do that. It kind of took it into into the direction that the song probably had in the heart of David Coverdale when he first came up with the words, a blues. And that guitar solo on In the Heart of the City, on Mistreated by Bernie Marsden, is a masterclass of restraint and bringing all the right notes to the party in the right order. It is absolutely brilliant. And so when I think it was about Time 2, which is Bernie's solo album, I bought that. I don't really buy solo albums from people who are in bands because they were always a bit hit and miss, but Bernie's solo albums were fantastic. And also, of course, he could do jazz rock, with Jack Bruce and, Cozy Powell, and he could do it. He could play like an absolute full-on guitar if he wanted to. But his heart, when you read this book and listen to this, he's a blues man. That beast, as he calls it, the Gibson Les Paul, through his Marshall amp, the fat tone that he has, it's fantastic. And I think he brought out Green and Blues, which is the tribute to Peter Green, I think 6 months or a few months before Gary Moore did one. But of course, Gary Moore probably had more brand awareness. People knew Gary Moore more as a solo artist than they did Bernie. So that one sold by the boatload, whereas Bernie's didn't sell quite as many. But it is a fantastic CD, fantastic album, that. And as I said, you saw in the sleeve notes, it goes through each track and Bernie annotates what he was thinking and what was going on. It's absolutely superb and packed full of music, as is the Big Boy Blue. But the one that stands out in this box set to me, which makes it absolutely worthwhile, essential, is the live one at the Granary. I think they were all squished at the corner of this place with about 300 people in it. You got there's brass players, female vocalists, and it's just joyous rock and roll. You can imagine yourself being there. I played it at a fair volume this morning, and there were tracks like Loved Another Woman, Key to the Highway, especially Loved Another Woman because it's such a beautiful song. The singing on this, the vocals, if I can just name check that while I'm here, if I possibly can. Sharon Watson on vocals. I don't know much about Sharon Watson, but on this disc she is just incredible. She's absolutely fantastic vocalist and perfect foil for Bernie Marsden's guitar playing. And I have to mention Here I Go Again, because I don't know what I was expecting that to be like. I was probably expecting it to be some kind of like Whitesnake-ish, but it's not. It's just gentle guitar and Bernie Marsden and Sharon singing together. It's absolutely beautiful, and I sometimes say on these reviews, it's worth buying for this disc, it's worth buying for that, or whatever. It's worth buying for that track. In some ways, Here I Go Again, it's one of those songs I'm not sure if I probably ever wanted to hear again, because I've heard it Here I Go Again, I've heard it so many times that this arrangement on here just replugs it into the system, and all of a sudden it sounds like a brand new song. And of course, brand new song, this is recorded a while ago, but it's a very, very well compiled set. As I said, there's the notes are on the back from Bernie, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So that's Bernie Marsden, Big Boy Blues and Green. It's out now, 4 CDs, highly recommended, as is Bernie's book. If you just want to know more about British rock and roll and what it's like being a working musician, it's a great book, it really is. Great guitar player. I should do more on Bernie Marsden, to be honest, and I'm also hoping to interview him soon for the Now Spinning Magazine podcast. So keep your eye out for that as well. So remember, music is the healer and the doctor, so keep taking your medicine. And thank you for subscribing, and please do if you haven't already, and I shall see you on my next video.